Hey everybody, welcome to the MMA H.E.A.T podcast. I'm Karyn Bryant.
What's up, guys? Jouban here.
So we are usually doing this in person. Of course, Alan has a fight to get to, so you're doing that last minute prep. So you leave tomorrow for Sacramento, yeah?
Yeah, I leave tomorrow LAX around noon, and then get there and start the fun process. But I'm eager to get there and get that kind of fight week mentality going.
Nice. Well, now you just tipped off TMZ too, so they're going to swarm you at the airport.
Well, you know what? They called me today to do a little interview as well. I forgot what they wanted to talk about, but yeah, I had to shut TMZ down. I'm on that level now.
Nice.
I'm sorry, TMZ, you can't do it today.
Nice. Well, cool. Listen, folks, today we're going to talk about the insanity that went down at UFC 206, which was just ridiculous. And then we will also spend some time talking about Alan's fight, and we'll, talk about the Black Beast a little bit. I don't know where you watched 206. Did you go to a bar, or were you just at home? Where'd you watch it?
Yeah, I believe it was the Fight Pass one, so I think I watched it on my couch at home.
Oh, that's
yeah.
for Derrick Lewis. Yeah, for the Fight Pass. I meant for 206. Where did you watch that?
Oh, 206. Yeah, sorry. I went to a buddy's house of mine, watched it with a big group of people. Good. I mean, just it was the card that everybody needed, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's so funny about it, too, is that everybody complained about it. Like, as soon as the Rumble and DC fight, this and that, and then everybody kind of complained about the fight getting elevated to an interim fight. But then there was just nothing but just awesome fight after awesome fight. So, obviously, folks, we're going to talk about that ridiculous Cub Swanson fight.
And I was one of those people, too, Karyn. If you know, I remember one or two podcasts ago, when I was bummed about the event. Are they going to cancel it? Are they going to bump it on the Fight Pass? And then you reminded me what the card looked like, and I was all of a sudden intrigued. Man, this is actually some exciting matchups. And then sure enough, it totally delivered.
Yeah, it absolutely delivered. So as we head into round one here now, let's talk about our new interim featherweight champion, Max Holloway. I don't know if we actually put money down, but somebody on the podcast picked correctly. I love Anthony Pettis, too, so it was a hard call for me. Going into this, I just felt like Max had the mojo. Max had everything going for him. Then when the weight issue happened, then I really felt convinced that Max just had things firing on all cylinders. But he looked really good. But you're right, Anthony did get injured in it, so it wasn't really the fight we could have seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer. I mean, look, Max did his thing, but injuries can change fights, and Anthony's saying that he broke his hand on the first punch that he landed, so that makes quite the difference. So he fought the entire first round, still somewhat using his hand, I believe, but then by the second, third round, I think it ended in the third round, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw he wasn't using it at all, and that makes a big difference. I mean, you look back at my last fight when I broke my hand against Bilal. I was pretty much dominating him up until breaking it, and after that, it looked like he started beating the crap out of me, but it's because I had no hand. So if you're fighting the entire fight without one of your best weapons, it makes a big difference. With that said, you can't take anything away from Max Holloway. He was in the zone. You said he had his mojo. He was in the zone the entire fight week. He had that flashy jacket on. He had gold or silver tie. Yeah. He was in his own zone. He was focused. He convinced himself that he was going to win that fight, and he didn't let anything stop him.
Yeah, I thought he was incredible, and I feel bad for Anthony, and I can only imagine, and you can obviously speak to this, that panic or whatever that sets in when you realize that you're down one weapon. For him to be able to continue and stay in the fight, it wasn't like his ass, started to get kicked without that weapon. I don't know how you feel. I thought Anthony won the first round, and I tweeted that out, and some people were like, no, man, you're totally wrong. All of us in the studio actually thought Anthony won, and I'm sitting there with two champions, so I was like, well, I don't know about you guys on Twitter. We all felt that Anthony won that round because he just seemed to be dictating the pace and stuff, and maybe it's because he broke his hand and he was like, well, shoot, let me get active quickly. I don't know if you saw Anthony getting the first round.
Yeah, I remember being close. I don't remember which way I specifically scored it, but it was definitely much closer first round, like you're saying. Anthony wasn't, in my mind, I didn't notice the hand yet. I hadn't noticed the hand until they showed the replay on the broadcast of him shaking it. And then that's when I started obviously noticing he wasn't throwing it. He was jabbing. He was kicking. Yeah. When you throw 5 kicks in a row from different angles, that tells me, okay, he's trying to keep him at bay, right. And that sign right there, when he came out, we were all like, all right, is he going to throw a right hand? Yeah. And he threw a bunch of kicks, and right away we said, it's got to be broken because he's not capitalizing. And I saw a couple times, and I had this same experience where guys come in and instinctually you want to defend yourself,
Right.
and you go to push him, but you can't. And I saw him a couple times kind of like slap Max Holloway.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was like, oh, I know what he's going through. Like instinctually, he's been trained 1,000 times, counter this, counter this, counter this. And the counter's there, but he can't throw it. So I felt bad for him. And I think what he kind of did, Anthony Showtime Pettis is a very clean, beautiful fighter, but don't. I always say, yeah, he kind of out techniques everybody. That's how he wins. But he's got a ton of heart. You remember when he was getting beat up by Rafael dos Anjos, those 5 rounds when he lost the belt. He was getting beat up really bad, but never quit. Never showed any signs of quit. He fought through it. And for his hand to be broken for 3 rounds, by the 3rd round, I think he just kind of convinced himself, how much longer can I do this? And when Max Holloway put that flurry on him, it was kind of just like him saying, I have to let this one go.
Yeah, and it's tough because, in terms of heart, his fight with Charles Oliveira, that fight in August, really showed that he had a lot of heart. I mean, he was in a lot of really bad positions. He was in a lot of positions where, it was getting real close, and he dug deep and ended up choking out, submitting Oliveira, who is a submission artist. So I agree with you on the heart thing, and I agree that, he's going in there, he's still doing it. He didn't give up, definitely wasn't any, I didn't feel like there was any quitting him, but as we know, as the fight went on, Max definitely heated up, and, when you can see that he found his groove and everything. And I'm not sure, because we asked him afterwards, we did an interview with him for the post-fight show, and if I'm not mistaken, I asked him, like, when did you know? And he didn't really know Anthony was hurt. He didn't really figure that out until late or whatever. And so he was still just fighting, the same way. And I don't know if he would have capitalized or done more things, because what he does is so effective anyway. But how do you think he'll do against Jose Aldo?
Man, I mean, look, we talked about it before. Like, either one who won that fight, primetime or it would have been a dream matchup against Jose Aldo. So we're getting blessed Holloway. He's starting the beef. He's trying to start. Oh, where's Jose?
Yeah.
So he's getting it going. He's getting us excited about it. Either way, it would have been a beautiful fight. So we get to still have a great fight. In my mind, if you get both guys on their best day, I have to go with Jose. He just has the proven track record. But which Jose Aldo shows up, that's the question. So up until now, I don't know. I have to see the momentum, the build-up of the fight, the training camp, all that stuff. But you take each guy on their best day, I think Jose is more proven.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against Jose Aldo, and maybe Max is trying to wind him up. Maybe he felt like Conor was able to get under his skin, and so maybe he'll try that. I don't know if Max could bother Jose as much as Conor did. I think it would take a lot. But I'm really happy for Max. He's a good kid. The guy has come through a lot. I was really happy for him. It's hard not to be happy for him. He's an exciting fighter. As we are in round 2, though, let's talk about Cub Swanson and Choi. Dude, we were freaking out at work, all of us, like standing ovation, but like after the 2nd round, we were like, oh my God, round of the year, that's amazing. And then round 3 came out, and we just lost we just lost it. That was amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, how do you not completely agree to everything you just said? After the 2nd round, I got on Twitter right away.
Yeah.
I was trying to be the first one to put it in.
Yeah.
Not the round of the year. Boom, everything just started flooding in. Everybody had the same mindset.
Right.
Round of the year was such a wonderful round. They continued into the 3rd round.
Right.
It was just a great fight, man. I mean, both guys showed so much heart, so much good chins, good striking. It's almost like I felt like when they were squaring off in the beginning in the octagon, Choi had kind of like this new buzz about him. He's the new guy on the scene. He was kind of like, and I kind of felt like Cub was feeling not disrespected, but kind of like he was the old guy getting passed up, and you could see during the fight him making those adjustments, just saying, "I'm not giving up. I'm not quitting. I'm gonna persevere." And like I feel like his heart and a little bit of that experience, knowing when to kind of turn on the boosters and not steal the rounds, but kind of throw those extra 2 or 3 punches to get the momentum back, is what helps kind of turn the momentum for him. But I agree. Fight of the year, going to be hard to beat that one. Round of the year for sure.
Yeah, crazy. Well, to your point, he actually said he felt a little disrespect because Choi had called Cub out. And so Cub said, he said, I felt a little a little bit disrespected by that. He said, but also I felt like he was criticizing my last couple of fights against grapplers. And so Cub was actually, taking a lot of this into the octagon. But I agree with you that veteran mindset, the ability to adapt and understand what's coming certainly served him. But I have to feel like there were points where I was just like, how is either of these guys still standing up? How are they standing up? And then just when you thought they couldn't take any more, then Cub would surge with a Superman punch and this and that. But I can't believe Choi's chin can take that. That's one thing we talked about before the fight when we were breaking him down, is that he, as much as he hits people and knocks them out, that he is hittable as well. So I'm guessing that's an adjustment. You'd like him to play a little more defense.
Yeah, and what's funny about it, though, is that, from one pretty clean-cut guy to another, Choi, he doesn't really have a beard, per se, but wears damage very well, is what I'm trying to say. End of the fight, you could see the marks, but that's just the redness from the glove hitting you. Mm-hmm. But that was evident at the very end of the fight. But what you didn't see is the swelling or the bruising or the cutting. I mean, he looks like such a young guy. You think his eye would shut after one punch, or he would get cut very easily. But he got hit with, I don't even know this. You might know the stats, but so many power shots, and he didn't really have any swelling or bleeding or anything that much. It was pretty impressive. Yeah,
it was impressive, and also just for Cub, after the fight, he was a little bit banged up. But I love the fact that going into that, I'm pretty sure he was ranked number 4. And it's just tough now because of that division. Obviously with Conor going, it frees things up. But Cub has been there so long. He's kind of fought all those guys already. That's what's tough about it. He's fought Max Holloway. I mean, obviously Max is a champ now, but Jeremy Stevens and, a lot of the guys, he's fought Jose Aldo. So that's the only tricky thing is, I guess, with him. It's going to start to be rematches if it's people above him, or are they going to make him the test for everybody? Tell you what, if I'm an up-and-coming fighter and I watch that fight and I'm like, that's my quote-unquote gatekeeper, hell to the no. I'll take number 7 and 8. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Most gatekeepers are like the guy that are on the cuffs of the rankings, or right. But this guy's a gatekeeper at like you said, what is he, number 4?
Yeah. I think people thought, some people thought, he was done, and he even admitted himself that he took that time off after he lost a couple fights. He was like, I'm not sure, maybe I'm done, and he fell in love with it again. And then when you think about the fight that he just delivered, and this is a dude that almost retired, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough spot for him to be in. Obviously, his stock just went way up from that fight, but like you said, he's already had those fights. Yeah. So if the UFC doesn't want to make it, obviously he wants a shot at the belt. Everybody wants the belt. But if that's not really in his foreseen future, I would just try to promote like anything that's an exciting type super fight. Anything that you could say, look, you want to make us a main event on our fight night, or you want to do this, promote this, some kind of boost his stock if it's not going to be a number 3, 2, or 1 type guy. Mm-hmm.
And do us all a favor and just match him up with strikers.
Yeah, right, please. For now on, yeah. For our viewers.
It's awesome. I know we already determined that you're a striker snob. We're between rounds. If you need a sip, get a drink. We already determined you're a total striker snob.
Hey, that's a nice water bottle, Karyn.
Yeah, it is. It's the Bubba. So what do you have going on there? Obviously, you're water loading right now.
Yeah. I like to tell people that I have this special mixture that I do before fights, but I just put Mio. The Mio should sponsor me. Yeah. Mio's that little water.
I know, the drops.
Yeah, dude, they're magic when it comes to water loading, because I do 2 gallons a day for the first 2 days. Yeah. And 2 gallons sounds like so much, but you put some Mio in there, and I feel like I'm cheating, like I'm drinking orange soda right now, so it's great.
Yeah, it looks like I have some lemon in mine. But I don't. Yeah, I mean, Mio. Isn't that chemicals, Alan? Aren't you all natural?
Whatever. It says there's nothing in it on the back. Yeah, I'm sure there's some chemicals in there that probably aren't amazing for you, but that's why I'm flushing it out with 2 gallons of water, right. Karyn.
Yeah. Well, good.
It works for me.
Yeah, they've already fought them. Oh, yeah. Wade is telling me he was in Toronto and Cub. Yeah, he wants some of those rematches, like Lamas and Frankie and stuff. Yeah, so he wants those rematches for sure. As we are in round 3 now, Cowboy Cerrone, this guy, like really this guy. I mean, it's funny because I know you were trying to get that fight with him last minute in New York, and it would have been amazing. But if he had done to you what he did to Matt Brown, I would have been very upset, my friend.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's funny because I actually this fight camp called out both of those men. I
Yeah.
called out Brown, and then I was trying to step up last minute to fight Cowboy. So it was pretty kind of fun for me to sit back and watch the two guys that I called out fight that night. And I don't know what to do anymore about Cowboy, Karyn, because every time that I kind of think I don't know if he's going to win this one, he does some spectacular shit and proves me wrong.
Right.
The thing was, leading into this fight, it was like, okay, he's fighting Matt Brown, who is very beatable, but he's tough.
Yeah.
Is Cowboy in the right mindset? Is he focused? Are we going to see the best Cowboy? Meanwhile, he's got his eye closed. I don't know what's going on, if he's really injured. I think I overheard on like UFC Embedded that it was like a hunting accident.
Yeah, it was a real injury. He was on his horse and he fired his gun and the horse got scared and ran into some bushes, and so he got kind of all scraped up and everything.
Thank you. Now I know the full story. Thank you for that insight. So he had the eye problem. He goes to Cabo on a fishing trip.
Yeah.
He's like hitting pads in the sand.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, how serious? He said after the fight that he was drinking beer while cutting weight, which doesn't make much sense. Putting in liquid while you're trying to take out liquid, much less. But even if it was water, why would you drink a cup of water when I'm trying to get rid of a pound of water?
I don't know.
Make any sense? So I don't know what to believe, but all in all, that made me question his mindset, his focus into this fight. But Cowboy, I feel that he's at the stage in his career where he has evolved, and he doesn't think so much about the pre-fight jitters. He doesn't think about, what do I normally do in my routine? What do I have to do to get me to that right place? He knows, you know what? When I get in the octagon, I'm at home now, and all I have to do is react like I normally react, do what I normally do. I've been in the octagon so many times. As you know, he's leading on everything and wins and win streaks and all this stuff. So yeah, it's just like he's literally starting to feel like he's at home in the octagon. He just feels so comfortable when he's in there now.
Yeah, and it's also, I feel like Cowboy at 170 is a great place for him. He doesn't have to cut that much weight. He can just be sort of happier in general. And we were talking about this. He started a few fights back doing a lot of previs and walking out to the octagon earlier in the day, and he hadn't done that before, and so that's something that's really starting to work for him. He did admit on the pre-fight interview that he actually backstage though is actually scared. He's done all this stuff, but he says in the minutes in the locker room, he says, yeah, I'm actually really scared. But I agree with you. Once he gets out there, he really feels like he's in the zone. And I also think that part of it, so we were talking and Tyron was working with me, and obviously the champ is there, and Cowboy called out Damian Maia, said he wants to fight Damian Maia in January in Denver. That's only 48 days away that he wanted to fight Damian Maia, which is ridiculous. He also mentioned Masvidal, which is somebody that we talked about that would be a great matchup for you, or some matchup for Masvidal and Cowboy would also be awesome. But I think part of it, I asked Tyron, I said, hey, are you surprised he didn't call you out? And he said, no, I'm not. I think, he knows he knows he'll lose. But I think also he's liberated by not looking for a title. And I feel like he fights better. He chokes when he's in title fights.
Yeah, he said it. He said he doesn't fight well emotionally. And that could be part of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have to find something that puts you in that comfort zone. And so I think Cowboy, having a very lighthearted, almost friendly, hey, we'll drink a beer after type of energy is what makes him dial back the nerves, dial back the fear and the stress, in which enables him to perform better. So I think that's really part of it. He's found what makes him fight good when he's less stressed, less emotional. So that's probably why, he's like, hey, let's have a beer. Let's, have a friendly face-off, shake my hand. Yeah. He's just to get away from the beefing and have more of like, let's just go mano to mano, man to man, old school, and I think it's allowing him to perform better. So he's playing that up a lot.
For sure, and I actually think, just finishing up the round here, but some people, nobody really wants to fight Damian Maia. He's so scary, so good at what he does. But if you think about it, if you're ready for that, Cowboy can prepare for this. Is a guy that, Damian obviously likes to let his hands go sometimes too. But somebody like Damian, who is so specific at jiu-jitsu and has other things, but Cowboy's pretty good with his own chokes. And I'm not saying he can get Damian Maia, but he's comfortable with jiu-jitsu. Somebody like Masvidal is just going to be a stander, stand and bang, and that would be fun. He's actually smart because if you go for the title, you're looking at Robbie Lawler, you're looking at Woodley, you're looking at guys that could really, I think, inflict a lot more damage on him than Damian or Jorge.
Yeah, and you know what? To be honest, like at the end of the day, a lot of things come down to money.
Yeah.
Cowboy makes pretty good money, and he know that he, in general, has a high winning percentage. Yeah. He wins like 9 out of 10 fights. So that's part of it as well, to be honest. If he's making, I don't know what he really makes, but let's just say about $250,000 every time he fights. He loves to buy shit. You see it. I mean, he's got a damn wet town that he lives in. He's got a gym. He's got a shooting range. He's got horses. He's got like 100 animals. So in his mind, he's like, I just fought. I'm not injured. Let me go fight again in 6 weeks, make another $250,000. I want to go buy that boat and that RV that I've been wanting.
Right.
So he just knows that his winning percentage is so high. Yeah. He's so good at everything. And the more that he fights, the less nervous that he gets because it's keeping him active. He's like, man, I'm making money. I'm doing well. Why call out the champ and maybe mess this up when I can go buy my RV and win another fight?
No, you're right. I totally agree with you. And we're speaking of winning fights here in round 4. I don't know if there was anything else that stood out from you at 206. Was there any other? I mean, Kelvin Gastelum was victorious over Tim Kennedy. I thought that was quite a knockout. I wasn't quite expecting him to finish Tim Kennedy like that. I thought he could win a decision, but I didn't expect him to finish Tim.
That one caught me completely by surprise, Karyn. I mean, when I saw them at the weigh-in of the stare-down, Kennedy looked like Wolverine.
He's huge.
Oh, muscular, man. He looked huge. And then and Gastelum looked small. And Gastelum is, mentally maybe not been there because of the weight cuts. I didn't know how focused he was in his actual fight preparation, but his weight cut preparation wasn't focused enough. But he had his best performance, arguably his best performance to date. Yeah. Put away Tim Kennedy, who's a very tough guy. Tim Kennedy, who realistically beat Yoel Romero in Vegas, but we had the whole Watergate thing. Right. So, I mean, he put away a tough guy, man. I was shocked. I mean, granted, I will say this. Tim Kennedy's been off for like 2 years, right?
Yes.
He's been off. And obviously he's been lifting weights and not maybe doing other things because he looked like he was trying to do like, one punch, one kick at a time, one everything.
Right.
And when he figured out that he couldn't really muscle Gastelum, that's when Gastelum's speed began able to, give him the advantage.
Yeah, and Kelvin afterwards called out Vitor Belfort, which is an interesting fight. Basically, he said, if I'm going to stay, I'll stay at 185 if you give me the fights that I want, like Vitor Belfort, and, that's specifically who he mentioned. He said, otherwise, I'm going back to, welterweight, and I want a number 1 contender. And it's tricky because it's real hard for him to make that weight, obviously. He keeps talking about how he's going to change his discipline and really find it because he gets 50 pounds overweight when he's not fighting. So I don't know. He is small for a middleweight, but if you can beat somebody as big as Tim, and granted, like we said, the ring rust might have had something to do with it, I'm not mad at him staying there at 185. I'm really not.
I think it's a smarter move. I mean, he knows himself better than anybody, but his fighting style, he's smaller, but he's built like a fire hydrant, and he's got a red base, so he's going to be harder to take down. And now he's the faster, quicker guy with his good boxing. It kind of stylistically makes it a better matchup for the bigger men, so I think he should stay there. He's had this, like, you go to 85 and take out a tough top guy like Tim Kennedy, why wouldn't you be like, this is my weight class? I don't know why he wants to go back down. You look at Robert Whittaker, which is another intriguing matchup. Robert Whittaker went up, had a huge success. He's staying there. He's being very successful. That would be another fun matchup, Robert Whittaker.
That's what I said, too. Yeah, and when we were watching right after the fight, Whittaker is exactly who I mentioned as well. To the folks, speaking of going back up in weight, Anthony Pettis did say he is going to return to 155 pounds because he said it is just too difficult for him to get to 45, which I'm cool with that. Who had to cut weight to make the heavyweight limit is the Black Beast. He had to cut weight. He had to cut weight.
Poor guy. I feel bad for him, man. I know he probably likes his like a big breakfast and some jelly on the bread. Poor guy had to cut weight.
I know, it's tough. But he had his fight on Friday. That's the one that was on Fight Pass against Abdurakhimov, and it was a little bit sloppy. It was not the best fight. I have to give Derrick props, though, because he said after the fight that he said, what did he say? I'm going to sit my ass down and really, get truthful with himself, because he'd really been saying, after he'd beaten Roy Nelson, I want a top contender, and I want this and I want that. And then when he really looked at his own performance, which was not good, he really realized like he needed to check himself a little bit.
You said it. I mean, like, we have both screamed praises of how much we love the Black Beast. Yes. He's a to watch. He's obviously entertaining outside of the octagon. He's got a good personality. He's just so enormous. Something about him. He's kind of a lovable guy. Yeah. But that performance was sloppy. I mean, that was hard to watch. It just was not good. Super sloppy. He just looked tired. He just didn't look sharp. Right. thank God he is such a big man. Well, thank God for him that he's such a big. If able to get on top of you, there's just no escaping. There's nothing to do once you get on down those hammer fists, and so. Yeah, I was glad that he ended up getting the win, but definitely not the performance that he wanted. Definitely not your first main event type of performance either. You know, he wants the company to know that they could trust him, have faith in him if they give him this type of big card to do, or a main event card to do. And didn't have the performance, but at the end of the day, it's still a win. People will forget about it. It was so many fights that weekend; it couldn't have happened at a better time because there was so many fights happening. People probably didn't even see it. I mean, between Glory and Bellator and UFC, that all they're probably going to see is he has another win in the win column, and it was in a main event, and his stock still rises. But he needs to, like you said, do some soul searching, not soul searching, but figure out what.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because in a way, you know, you feel like with them giving him the main event, that they kind of gave him somebody I think they probably thought he was just going to eat for dinner. And the fact that it went to the fourth round, I'm sure that's probably also why he's embarrassed or so by the performance. But also that night, Francis Ngannou was crazy with that ridiculous, just amazing. But we are now, Alan, in round 5, and round 5, my friend, is all about you. You are, of course, facing Mike Perry on UFC on Fox. Look at that, the big Fox show. You are on network TV, my friend. We're just a few days away from this. Obviously, this is Monday when we're recording this, and you're fighting on Saturday. So when are you going to flip the switch when you get to Sacramento, or have you been a little edgy with your wife already the last couple of days?
Well, I haven't know. She hasn't told me anything yet, so we'll see. Maybe she's just being a good fighter wife. But no, you know, mentally the switch is flipped. As far as focus, I feel like this camp I've been more focused than ever. I mean, to be truthful, I feel like this is the best cardio I've ever been in my entire life. I work with Taylor Ramsdale in Studio City at this place called Chain Fitness, and we've been together for 2 or 3 fights, and I've noticed a huge improvement. I was already in good shape when I found him, but he's kind of got me to that small next level. And now 2 or 3 fights together, it's starting to show the residuals of having done everything for so long now. So I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm ready to go out there and be able to stick and move, and fight my pace the entire time, because I know Mike is a guy that slows down. But yeah, to answer your question, mentally, I'm more focused than ever. I feel like my mind is exactly where I want it to be. Once I get to Sacramento and start signing posters and seeing my opponent and all that stuff, then it'll probably get a little bit more of a mean focus. But right now, it's just like I know exactly what I need to do to get the job done and how I'm going to do it.
Do you feel that the focus is maybe because you are coming off of that injury and, you know, there's just greater consequences now after that?
Yeah, you know, it's partly that. It's partly I had the broken hand in the last fight, so I had 3 months to sit there and do physical therapy, and the entire time envision what I wanted. I wanted to fight in New York. My opponent that I broke my hand on, Bilal, he got to fight in New York. So I had to kind of swallow my pride in a way, go and watch him perform where I wanted to fight. I had a lot of time to think about it. But I think the main focus is, for me, I speak a lot. I don't know if I spoke on the show about it, but about like goals. I'm really goal-oriented. I write my goals down every year. I make new goals. And I need to check those goals off in order to move on. And for me, my biggest goal, I said this year, fight at least 3 times, win all the fights, get some bonuses, and get into the top 15. And that's my biggest motivation. For me, I can't move forward until I'm in the top 15. Once I do that, then I could have the belt as that's my next goal. I work my way up. But until I'm in the top 15, then I'm just fighting whoever they throw me. And I feel like I know that my life could change after this fight. That's what my focus is, because I'll be on a 3-fight win streak, 5 out of my last 6. I could be in the top 15. I could be fighting. I could renegotiate my contract. I could be making more money. Everything is going to come. I just have to win this fight, and then everything will continue to come. The modeling world, after this fight, there's probably some big jobs that are just waiting for me to win this fight, and hopefully do some stuff in the modeling world as well. So I know that, like, I'm able to pursue my dreams and financially to take care of me and my family. This win does a lot, and so that's what I think about every single day. Every time I go train, I just keep that focus the entire time. So, yeah, man, I've just been so focused this camp that I'm excited. I'm nervous, like Cowboy gets nervous in locker room, but I'm excited to see what I do when I have the big stage in front of me.
Nice. Well, and I just hopefully, and you see, you know, obviously you seem to be able to separate focus from feeling pressure, because I do worry, sometimes when people go in with the weight of the world on there, I got to do this and I got to do that. And, you don't want to be, overthinking when you're in there. You know what I mean? You still want to be able to get in there and just live in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that a real life instant that goes with what you're saying is before my fights, I talk to myself, and my coaches always notice it. And sometimes they're trying to like lip read what I'm saying. And a couple fights ago, they noticed I was saying, I tell myself things like, I will never give up. When I'm tired, I will get back up. If I'm cut, I won't bother me. I always tell myself these things, and it's just reinforcing in my head. But what they notice is, why am I dwelling on the negative? You know what I'm saying? Why I put myself in the worst situation possible, and I tell myself, it doesn't matter if I'm in a car wreck in that fight, I'm going to get up and I'm going to fight my way out of it. But I shouldn't even be focusing. So now what I've done is I've separated that, and I just tell myself, I'm going to stay sharp. Yeah. I am faster than him. I could do this all day. I will not get tired. I've got the best cardio. Things like that. I've kind of been reinforcing the positive rather than telling myself on the negative. And I think it's helped me mentally stay more focused.
Yeah, that's a great plan. Yeah, you shouldn't. It's not that you're not accepting those options, but you're just choosing to focus on the positive, which I think is way better. You talked about getting up to Sacramento, and that the poster signing will be there. Are you expecting any mean mugging? We know he's been pretty yappy on social media. Are you expecting any kind of issues with him at all during the week?
Yeah, I'm preparing for it. It's funny. Me and my manager, we were talking about it today. We just kind of we like to get the right mindset before each fight. And we were preparing. We were like, if he's going to go there and do the same thing that he's done on Twitter, if he's going to try to do it in person, just keep what I've been doing. Just keep doing what I've doing, where I'm going to say, you know what, you can play your game all you want, but I'm the one leading this dance. I'm not going to let him lead the dance. He wanted to do an interview with me today on a site. He wanted to do a 3-way phone call.
Oh, okay.
And have us argue the whole time. And so they called me up and said, Mike wants to do this. He thinks it'd be great for the fight. You guys go at it. Right. And I was like, I don't give a shit what Mike wants. I'm leading this dance. Right. He's lucky that he's getting to fight me on the main card. I'm not doing the phone call. I'll see him December 17th. So that's my mindset right now, really, that I'm not going to fall into his games. I feel like his tactics are a bit elementary, and I see above it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's smart of you not to engage in his game if you don't feel like going there. In terms of the fight, though, how do you see him? Where do you think he's dangerous? I mean, I know obviously he's been able to didn't knock out his last guy, or didn't knock them both out even. So he's got some hands.
So all of his wins are knockouts. So that's his go-to. Obviously, he's got big power, and I respect it. I respect his power. He's a good athlete. He gets into scrambles. I noticed about him that he's a lot sharper in the beginning of the fight than he is towards the middle and the end. He's still dangerous throughout the fight, but he's not quite as sharp. He's a little bit more heavy-footed as the fight takes place. And I don't plan to slow down one bit. I plan to stay sharp the entire 3 rounds. And as his hands drop, find my opening and put him away.
Yeah. And you also have the option. We know that you train with Kenny Johnson. We know that your wrestling is obviously there as well if you need it. Do you expect it to go to the ground at all, or do you feel like this is going to play out on the feet?
It could, man. It very well could. He's such an aggressive striker that a lot of his fights, I've noticed, the 2 fights in the UFC that he's had, they have had a grappling aspect to it in the first round immediately because he's so aggressive. He comes in so heavy that eventually people collide. Right. And either they collide just because of he comes so forward so aggressively, or because he's coming forward aggressively so they're forced to shoot. But either way, his style kind of makes people grapple sometimes. So if we do get in a grappling part, I think that just favors me. I've been putting in so much work. My grappling's at another level now. I just don't show it that frequently, but I definitely feel that I'm superior in the grappling department.
Nice. And as you're opening the Fox card, you're fighting the same night as Paige Van Zandt, the same night as Sage Northcutt and Mickey Gall, the same night that Uriah Faber is his retirement fight. So I feel like you got to feel good that they put you there. I mean, that certainly speaks to the investment in you and the belief in you.
I'm so pumped. I'm pumped for it. I feel like the UFC hasn't promoted me quite like I wanted in some areas, and I've spoken up about that before, but I feel like they've always instilled trust in me. My UFC debut, I was on the main card. My second fight in the UFC, I co-main evented Brazil against an undefeated fighter. they know that what they get when I fight. Win or lose, I always bring exciting fights, and the majority of my wins are either fight of the nights or first round knockouts. So I feel like they gave us that fight that placed us there because of that, because of knowing that it should be an exciting fight. And Mike himself, he's undefeated, he's an exciting fighter, so it should be a good one. But I definitely see it more as an opportunity for me. Like you said, first time fighting on Big Fox with everybody on the card. My goal is to outshine everybody and get the win.
I'm actually glad I'm not working it. Like I would go mental. It's hard. It's really hard. We had to work in Vegas when you were fighting the last time, and I told you, we're in the media room, and I wasn't on the air, but in the media room, we're supposed to have some professional decorum, and we're supposed to act like there is nothing happening. And Wade and I were kind of bugging out during your fight. But it was okay because the people there understood why. But this time, I think we'll just be at our friend's house watching you, so I'll be allowed to scream and freak out a little bit.
There you go. Enjoy it. It'll be on early too, 5 to 7. So it's kind of like it's almost in a weird way easing. To know that, like, all right, by 7 p.m., the whole card is done.
Yeah.
We're going to be showered up and all that. We'll be done. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, though.
Nice. And then in terms of the technical things, like you said, you're still chugging water. So are you 15 pounds over? Where are you now weight-wise, or less than that?
Good, man. I'm so good. This is probably the lightest I've been. Like I said, I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm probably like 12 pounds over right now, which is where I like to be. Yeah, I like to get to. Usually, when we get to the venue or wherever we're going, the day of, we get on the scale to check our weight, and I like to be 12 to 13 that day. I'm already right under that, so I'm happy. Everything's going picture perfect right now.
Very nice. So then, when you're victorious, you say you like to fight 3 times a year. I don't know if that's the same goal for 2017, but if there were somebody in the top 15 that your ideal fight, who would it be with?
Man, see, I don't know if I have a name just yet.
Get a name, though, because it drives us crazy. If you get the mic and you don't have a name, Alan Jouban, we curse when people do that in the studio because it's your moment. You're there, you're on TV. You need to call somebody out.
I definitely will be lobbying to be in the top 15, and then from there, anybody in the top 15. I really don't know after this weekend's fights, and then there's like 6 fights on my card, and then December 30th. Going into the new year, I'm really not sure how the lineup is going to be moving around. I think Matt Brown might have been 15 and Jorge Masvidal might have been 14, but I'm assuming Matt Brown is out now. So I'm kind of curious. And also this guy's like Kelvin Gastelum, who's ranked like 10 or 11 or something like that, but he's now a middleweight, so does he just get bumped out? So I will have an answer for this question once I've beaten Mike, once I see a number next to my name, and all the lineup is there, then I will find somebody and I will make that fight happen.
All right. Well, yes, Kelvin was the number 11 welterweight before this past fight, so that should probably stay the same, just because he fought at welterweight. I'm gonna come up with some ideas. I know Masvidal is a great idea. Like we said, we already talked about that, but
love big fights.
I'm just saying this for you and for every fighter. We all kind of bug out when somebody just says, "Oh, I'll just take anybody they put in front of me." No, have a name. But so if you get, I understand your philosophy, though. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
So who you got on your mind, Karyn? You got anybody?
Well, we talked about the other day that Masvidal would be amazing. I would love to see it. But I'm saying I don't want to see it because I like both of you. But like, who doesn't want to see that fight? That would be a ridiculous fight.
Yeah, that would be a good fight. If the Cowboy fight doesn't happen with him, then that could be a possibility for sure.
Right, and we talked about, I know we talked about this before with Patrick Cote. He's not in the top 15 though, but he was somebody before you make it to the top 15 that you talked about. I know he wants to fight Jake Ellenberger, but Ellenberger's a guy, again, that's a little close to home. You guys are both SoCal boys, but I believe they are going to give him a no contest. I was talking to some people at work about that the other day, and because that was so weird, I don't think it's going to be held against him. So, he's still a name in there that's, up there in the rankings. So I don't know.
Good to know. You always you keep throwing them this way, and then when I see one I like, I'll pick it.
That's right. Okay, yeah, Wade's got it right here, and I know it doesn't matter. I don't care if they won or lost their last fight, but up there you have guys like Rick Story. You have Tarek Safadine in at number 13. You have Johnny Hendricks has got a fight. I mean, some of these guys are matched up, but some of these guys are matched up. If they sign Lorenz Larkin, if they re-sign him, there you go. Yeah, there's some names. So, first things first, though, you go in there and do your job, and then we'll worry about it, right?
That's it. I'll talk smack after.
Very nice, very nice. Well, listen, Alan, where can people find you? Obviously, on social media this week, they're going to want to find you. You're going to probably step up the activity on Instagram and Twitter and everything.
Yeah, check me out at Alan Jouban, AlanJoubn and BAN, and check me out on my Instagram. I'm making it a business account, so I'm linking it to my fan page. But I'm going to be releasing this week on Instagram a kind of like a little teaser throughout the week, and then the kind of my I don't know how long the video is, but I have a little kind of comeback video. You can see what I've been doing through my physical therapy and my months off and in preparation for the fight that I did with an amazing producer, editor, whatever you want to call it. But he's got some amazing stuff. So everybody, if you're watching this, check it out on my Instagram. It's going to be really good. I think, like I said, we released the full video the day of the fight, but up until then, we'll be releasing some teasers. So check that out.
Very nice. And on social media, you can find me, Karyn Bryant, on Twitter and on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm KB Heat. YouTube, Karyn Bryant. We also have, of course, MMA Heat on YouTube and on Facebook. We have Trocasao MMA for those of you who speak Portuguese. And this week we have a UFC tonight. And like I said, I'm not working on the weekend one, so I'll just be able to bug out and watch you. But, wishing you the best of luck. And the thing about it is Alan, you know what comes next is the Champagne podcast.
Hey, I'm looking forward to that just as much as getting my hand raised.
Very nice, very nice. Alan, well, thanks so much, for taking the time today on your last day home. I know you have a lot to do. We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.